This episode is brought to you by my partnership with Humble Bundle. With Finding Paradise just around the corner, you can grab it and To the Moon, plus support the channel directly by heading to the link below. Every purchase made through Humble Bundle supports indie devs, the channel, and more importantly, charity. There are a ton of charity to support through Humble Bundle, so make sure that you don't just grab To the Moon, but also grab a few other ones to help your favorite charities out. Okay, on to the tiers! And welcome to another episode of That Cyber Channel. I'm Dan Cybert.
And I'm AlyssaBeCrazy.
Today, we're going to be talking about a game that I've wanted to cover for a long time.
And some of you guys might know from the Let's Plays on this very channel.
Today, we're going to be covering...
Today, we're going to be talking about...
You loved her so much. To the Moon was released in November 2011 for PC, January 2014 for Mac and Linux, and then an HD remake for iPhone and Android in May 2017.
The game was developed by Freebird Games, with the brains behind the game being Ken Gao.
He was the head designer, artist, writer, and composer of the game. And he favorited one of my tweets. I've been noticed!
The game's concept came about after Ken's grandfather died in 2010. He said in an interview with Eurogamer, "I hadn't really lost any family members at that point, and it got me thinking about death a lot."
This would become the seed that would spawn one of the most beautiful games on Steam. I mean, that's just in this humble gamer's opinion.
I cried.
He cried.
The game was completely developed in RPG Maker XP, which... damn. For those that don't know, it's an RPG engine that, compared to other software like Unity or Game Maker Studio, is fairly basic.
Reception for this game was incredibly positive. Most critics said the gameplay was lacking, but made up for that in the story.
Which was so good that it took home Best Story in GameSpot's 2011 Game Awards. It also had nominations for Best Music, Writing, Ending, Most Memorable Moment, and Song of the Year.
Okay. As you can tell from the history, this game is about one thing and one thing only: story.
So the question is, does To the Moon's story make up for its lack of gameplay?
And can we keep it together for this review?
Let's boot up the game. Fuck, I'm hearing the song and it's just going.
Don't start crying. If you start crying, I'm gonna start crying, and then we're both gonna be crying, and it's gonna be a bad time.
The answer was no.
No!
Okay, welcome to the Moon. Right off the bat, the title shows what kind of tone this game is taking.
The beautiful music already sets the scene for an emotional journey, but the animation is a little stiff and simple. However, there's still so much charm to it. I mean, I might be a little bit jaded since this brings up so many emotions.
You play as Dr. Eva Rosaline and Dr. Neil Watts, which, according to Alyssa and the comments of our Let's Play, he is my spirit animal.
True fact. Neil and Eva work for a company called Sigmund Corp, whose job it is to help dying clients fulfill their dreams by completely rewriting their memories. Here is where we meet our client Johnny, whose wish it is to get to the moon.
Oh, there it is! There's the name of the game, damn it!
What did I get myself into?
It's then up to you to travel through his memories to basically inception the thought in his young self. Along the journey, you'll discover the beautiful love story of Johnny and River, while also uncovering mysteries of Johnny's past.
Normally, we would start by talking about the story of the game, but this isn't Doom 2016 where we can cover the story in about a minute.
Instead, we'd like to actually start with the gameplay of To the Moon, because it's actually the smallest part of the game, which is weird to say that a game doesn't have much game in it.
To the Moon functions more like an interactive story than an actual game. Most of your time will be spent exploring the different parts of Johnny's memory to learn more about Johnny, River, and even Eva and Neil.
Each memory you travel through contains a cutscene or two, followed by exploring for memory pieces to travel further back in his life.
Once you collect enough energy from a memory, you'll be able to find an object that you can use to travel to the next memory. In order to travel back, you have this oh so fun card flipping puzzle.
This is really the only game part of To the Moon. Well, except an amazing moment at the end that I won't spoil. Once you finish the puzzle, you'll be transported back to an earlier memory. Rinse and repeat.
It's simple, but it doesn't feel too repetitive. It's just enough for you to not be distracted by the game mechanics and focus on what's happening.
So let's talk about presentation, which, despite it being restricted by RPG Maker, is really freaking good.
Don't get us wrong, there are a few RPG Maker games that really stand out. Witch's House, Ib, Mad Father. Each of these games does a fantastic job utilizing the RPG Maker tools.
Hell, even Five Nights at Boys did a decent job.
Inhale my enragement, child.
This?
Played it all the way through. Actually pretty fun.
I think I just lost all of my respect for you.
Don't judge. The biggest challenge with an RPG Maker game is how do you make all the stock elements feel unique? To the Moon is a great example how. There are some assets that feel stock in To the Moon, but the team at Freebird Games did a wonderful job combining both stock elements and original assets together to form beautiful settings.
What's even more challenging is conveying emotions through characters with limited animation available. Still, Freebird Games found a way to overcome this with sprite work, dialogue, and my favorite part, the mew. One sec. Okay, killed the monsters and now I'm good. The music is easily one of the best parts of this game.
The music ranges from simple atmospheric pieces to the masterpiece that is ripped. Hold on. Better. River Song, which I kid you not, can basically get me to cry within only 10 seconds of hearing it.
This song has so much passion and, after you finish the game, so much meaning to it. I'm walking down the aisle to this song.
She's not kidding.
I never kid.
Never.
Never. It's gonna be beautiful.
The biggest nerds on the planet. All right, it's time to get to what makes up the big majority of the game, the story.
We'll start off by saying that there is a reason why it won Best Story back in 2011. Telling a story in non-chronological order is a difficult task, but damn, Freebird Games killed it!
First, let's talk about the characters. Our story focuses around 4 major characters. Our 2 heroes, Neil and Eva, Johnny, our patient, and Johnny's deceased wife, River.
Eva is the straight-edge, down-to-business character, and Neil can't really take anything seriously. As a duo, these two work off each other so well. Eva serves as our straight man, while Neil functions as the goofball, leading to tons of great moments.
Then there is Johnny and River. These two are what drive the entire story, as Eva and Neil are more like guides for the audience to experience Johnny and River's story.
What makes these two characters so unique is because we're seeing them develop backwards. Seeing someone go from old and jaded to young and reckless is unreal.
It's kind of weird seeing their relationship at the end and seeing it build in reverse. My one critique about the characters is that there are times that they feel a little two-dimensional, but this really only happens towards the beginning of the story. This brings us into the plot. There are only a handful of people that can tell a story in a non-chronological way and keep it a mystery. Gao is one of those guys.
One of the most difficult challenges a storyteller runs into when telling a story backwards is how do you maintain mystery and suspense while we all know the end result?
It's not like Emperor's New Groove, where we see Cusco sad in the rain at the beginning of the movie and then flash back to everything leading up to that point. From there, we still have half a movie after that.
When we see Johnny, that's literally the end of his story. He's dying and there are no other questions posed other than why does he want to go to the moon?
And that's exactly why this story worked so well. The answer to the question is buried deep within the past.
Avoiding spoilers the best we can, the thing that works so well about it all is that everything is tied to the answer of that question. Everything you go through with River and Johnny leads to the answer of that question posed at the beginning of the story.
This works by having the audience not ask what comes next, but rather why does this have meaning? In setting up the story like this, we can tell a story backwards since we're discovering why objects like the paper rabbits have so much meaning to Johnny.
It's an engaging story from the ending to the beginning. Everything in the story has so much meaning that it builds one of the most beautiful love stories. It teaches you that the smallest moments you might share with somebody could mean the world to each of you for the rest of your life.
Honestly, if you haven't played this game yet, you should grab your significant other, best friend, or a family member and play it. I can say without a doubt, you'll find a whole new appreciation for each other. Even though the gameplay to the Moon is rather light, The story is easily one of the best stories to hit the gaming scene.
And the beautiful presentation run through a limited game engine just makes it shine through that much stronger.
So, what are our final thoughts on the game? Well, it is a work of art through and through. If you haven't picked up this game on Steam or iPhone, do it.
It is a beautiful story about love, life, and death that everybody needs to experience.
Now, if you'll excuse us, I believe the new sequel just dropped, and we need to go hydrate before we cry for 4 hours.
I'm gonna go grab the Costco-sized tissues.
Perfect, let's do this. Thanks everyone for watching, and hey, we're starting Finding Paradise right here on that Cyber channel. It'll most likely be the last Let's Play on this channel as I shift to scripted stuff only, but you can catch Alyssa over at twitch.tv/AlyssaBeCrazy, where I happen to show up every now and then. I got a lot of videos I want to finish before I move, so if you'll excuse me, Christmas. Cybert out!